whapea te koto nei tēnā korua. Kia ora koutou katoa. Ko kari me te maunga whānau te moana taini te waka, taini te iwi, taini te hapu, taini ake, nuru po, nuru te ao, ko Angeline Greensill I just found out about this meeting, so I thought I'd come. So didn't know what it was about, but I knew it was forest and birds, so I knew it was about the environment. And in terms of, as you know, Mana is a party that is made up of activists that actually look after the poor, the marginalised, etc. We formed an alliance with the digital, the internet party, which is actually a party full of people who are very clever in terms of where we're going, in terms of the digital world that we're now facing or that we're in. So it's a great alliance, but I mean what happens is I've got two policies here. One is the internet party policy, and one is the Māori Mana policy. So just like previous speakers, Māori Party, Māori certainly believe that the health and well-being of Mother Earth is what is the most important factor. If the Earth is sick, we're all going to be sick. If the waterways are sick, so are we. And so, of course, our job is to protect that. And Mana has quite a few priorities that they've put out in terms of policies. One of them is to uphold the Treaty of Waikato, because the treaty gave us rights to look after our country. Unfortunately for us, we live in a place where I grew up where the rivers were pristine, and this is only about 1955-60, I guess, it started to change when they started discharging waste into rivers. We used to drink from the water, you know, and now we have rivers where the standards have been lowered to waiting standard. It's not good enough. While we fight court cases to get councils to be responsible for what they're putting in our waterways, to get them down to 14 fecal coliforms so that you can actually have food gathering standard, the government is showing no leadership by actually lowering the standard even further. It's a backward step, and we actually need to actually raise our standards. You've heard some of the opportunities here for catchment planting. I agree with all of that. It'll help. But we certainly have to stop using our waterways as rubbish tips. That's what we're doing. We're putting stormwater, point source discharges into the waterways. And what happens? It goes out into the marine environment where things like the Maui live, in a marine environment that's also becoming degraded. So I think we need to look at our behaviour. But the policy is for Mana, uphold the treaty. Second is protect our land from pollution, because everything we do on the land actually affects the waterways. Thirdly, safeguard the rivers and water quality, so I guess that's on point. Maintain the mode of all water bodies, ensure all New Zealanders have access to public water, or potable water I should say. Water supplies will be retained as public goods managed locally and not sold off as assets to foreign companies. I see that our own council, Waikato District, is sort of contemplating looking at water care, and what that tells me is they're thinking of selling. So we're totally opposed to that. All wastewater to be treated to food gathering standard, then discharged through land. If it's so good, if it's food gathering, why is it we treat it as a waste and put it into waterways? Stormwater outlets adjacent to sealed roads should have silt traps to filter runoff. Support homeowners' calls for tanks to be erected to collect water if they want to do so. A lot of councils ban that. Restore the right to protest against activities, especially the ones out in the marine environment. And of course protect the seabed and other lands from harmful exploration and mining. In terms of climate change, to be carbon neutral by 2050, we will develop a plan for serious carbon emission reduction that includes establishment of a climate commission, the adoption of a carbon budgeting process, and a 100% renewable energy goal by 2025. Work towards a coal-free future. We don't want to see any more coal mines opened. Repeal the emissions trading scheme and replace it with policy and regulation that will reduce carbon emissions in a fair and just way. Stop the privatisation of power companies and retaining them in public ownership. Yes, and so forth. And I didn't get around to the internet party, but I'll move on to that next time.